Princess Margaret remains a captivating figure even 23 years after her passing, enchanting people in Britain and around the world. Margaret was born on August 21, 1930, at Glamis Castle in Scotland. She was 4 years younger than her sister Elizabeth. As the second daughter of King George VI, she grew up surrounded by privilege and pressure. In 1936, the abdication of Edward VIII placed their father on the throne as King George VI, and the destinies of the two sisters diverged. Elizabeth began receiving systematic training as a future monarch. Margaret, excluded from some lessons, would later regret not receiving the deeper education that could have shaped her future. Even during wartime, the sisters grew up side by side, but their differences in temperament and sense of responsibility became increasingly visible. King George VI famously said, "Lilibet is my pride, Margaret is my joy." While Elizabeth wore her ATS uniform and learned to repair vehicles, Margaret took on public duties and returned to the social scene. Her lively personality and urban sophistication only strengthened her image as a rising star. She was seen as a blend of youthful energy, seductive elegance, imperious entitlement, and a symbol of an old institution losing its direction. According to many, Helena Bonham Carter's portrayal of her world-class rudeness in The Crown was not an exaggeration. Margaret began gaining attention as the mischievous younger sister. Cameras adored her, and visitors praised her sharp wit. Even in her early teens, she was considered stylish and full of personality. Diplomat Duff Cooper wrote that she possessed beautiful skin, eyes, lips, confidence and humor, while warning that she might find herself in trouble even before she fully succeeds. By the time Elizabeth ascended the throne in 1952, Margaret had already become known as a glamorous city princess surrounded by cigarettes, cocktails, and admirers. She symbolized the new elegance of post-war Britain eager to escape austerity, becoming not just a princess but a star. In 1955, she became the heroine of her own national drama. The public watched closely to see whether she would choose love, her divorced suitor, RAF Group Captain Peter Townsend, or royal duty. Headlines pleaded, "Come on, Margaret." But in the end she chose duty. Romanticists were crushed, and her decision became legendary. What looked like a golden decade soon revealed itself as the beginning of a steep decline. Her marriage to society photographer Anthony Armstrong Jones, later Lord Snowdon, created excitement, but the reality was disastrous. According to reports, Snowdon left notes by her bedside reading, "You are nothing to me." At a New York party, when someone asked about the Queen, Margaret snapped, "Who? My sister, my mother, or my husband?" Their marriage officially ended in 1978, the first high-ranking royal divorce since the Victorian era, opening the door for future royal separations. Around this time, Margaret found solace in Mustique, where Lord Glenconner gifted her the land that became her private villa, Les Jolies Eaux. In 1973, she entered a relationship with Roddy Llewellyn, 17 years her junior, creating a scandal. And yet, this was the relationship that, by many accounts, brought her genuine happiness. Queen Elizabeth and Margaret had a private direct telephone line between Kensington Palace and Buckingham Palace, speaking almost daily. Lady and Glenconner later recalled the Queen saying, "Thank you for introducing Roddy to her. He made her truly happy." From the 1990s onward, Margaret's health began to decline steadily. In 1999, at her Mustique villa, she suffered severe burns when scalding water from a faulty tap hit her feet. The painful accident became a symbol of her tragic final years. When she died, the Queen issued a statement calling her "my beloved sister," and throughout the funeral and mourning period, she remained the steadfast elder sister who stayed at Margaret's side in every way she could. Despite the glitter and scandal, the emotional bond between the sisters, and the Queen's tender, unspoken devotion, remains one of the most poignant stories in royal history. Margaret's private life continued to spark conversation. Nicknamed Her Rude Highness, she was famous for her blunt comments. One iconic story recalls her ignoring Twiggy for hours before finally turning to ask, "Who are you?" When Twiggy replied people called her by that name, Margaret answered, "How unfortunate." Margaret's health problems mounted. A heavy smoker since her teens and fond of famous grouse whiskey, she had part of her left lung removed at 54. She suffered migraines, bronchitis, and laryngitis. She endured pneumonia in 1993, a mild stroke in 1998, and the Mustique burn accident in 1999. Lady and Glenconner cared for her around the clock, and eventually the Queen arranged her return to Britain. Her condition worsened near Christmas 2000. She suffered another stroke in March 2001, resulting in partial paralysis and impaired vision. Her last public appearance was at the 100th birthday celebration of Princess Alice, Duchess of Gloucester, where she appeared frail in a wheelchair, her face swollen from medication, her famous eyes hidden behind sunglasses. On February 9, 2002, at King Edward VI's Hospital. She passed away peacefully from a stroke complicated by heart problems. Her son and daughter were at her side. Rumors about her private life persisted even after her divorce, including a supposed friendship with notorious gangster John Bindon. But Margaret's legacy extended beyond scandal. She broke open the taboos surrounding royal divorce, influencing how the next generation, Charles and Andrew, approached marriage and separation. And at the heart of her complicated life remained her unbreakable bond with her sister. The direct telephone line, the daily calls, the Queen's gratitude. He made her happy. The final statement, "My beloved sister." These fragments reveal a poignant portrait of two women bound by duty, love, distance, and devotion. Margaret's rise and fall, and the secret sisterhood that endured until the end, cannot be explained simply by the word royalty. Queen Elizabeth cared for her sister all her life, though the crown often forced her to hide her feelings. The official statement read, "Her beloved sister, Princess Margaret, died peacefully in her sleep this morning." In that silence, the Queen said everything. Her sister, her shadow, was gone. A princess who wavered all her life between love and duty, freedom and the crown. Her name was Margaret. Some called her rebellious, some called her human. And the Queen, until the very end, called her my beloved sister. Their mother believed that upper-class women did not need formal schooling. Both Elizabeth and Margaret were educated at home by a governess. Elizabeth, once confirmed as heir, received additional lessons
When my
in
sister and I
constitutional
were growing
history
up,
and
she was
statecraft.
made out to be
Margaret,
the goody-goody
however,
one.
received only
That was
basic
boring,
cultural
so the press
instruction.
tried to
She
make out
later
I
resented
was
her mother
wicked
for
as
not
hell.
allowing her to attend school. The Queen Mother died on March 30, 2002, just 7 weeks after Margaret. Perhaps, as some like to believe, she stayed just long enough to watch over her daughter one last time. Subscribe and turn on notifications to uncover the truths behind the royal stories you thought you knew. The reality may not be what you imagined.